Hi there, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to continue with this, our luxury 6-bedroom duplex. In our previous videos, we had established the cost, the quantity of material, and all it took to get this project from the foundation to the DPC, from the DPC to the decking, from the decking to the parapet level. And in today's video, we're going to look at the parapet and all it took us, both material and labor, to do this work to complete the parapet stage of this building. Stay tuned as we take you through the process. So, after the leveling of block to the parapet level, the next thing, of course, is to study the design of the parapet and then put the beams around the building, which actually is what binds the parapet together and, of course, holds the weight of the parapet. At this stage now, after the beam goes round and the bracings are in place to hold the parapet and its steps in position, then the formwork follows the design of the parapet. Now, note that each parapet has its own designs. So, of course, we follow the design of the parapet and, of course, do the formwork, because the formwork is what gives the parapet its final shape by the end of the day. Then we then follow the shape of the parapet to do the ironwork. So the beam stands, and then the reinforcement rods follow the corrugation of the parapet formwork to get us to where we want the stuff to be. And by the end of the day, you have a parapet that is joined together from the beams to its arms, and that is how a parapet stands and stands strong without you having a case of a fallen part or the rest of them. Now, there are a number of activities that go on before a parapet is completed. The first thing that happens is the carpentry work. So the carpentry work, of course, ensures the beams are done. Then this is also what ensures that the shape of the parapet is gotten. So from the carpentry work, we get the formwork done and done rightly, with all the necessary measurements. We get the beams that binds the parapet together and, of course, joins all the columns of the building. And when that has been completed, then we now talk about the ironwork, which now connects every part of the building. And what we do is also to ensure that from place to place, we put in a kind of anchor from the parapets to some columns to ensure that it pulls and holds the weight together, to ensure that the building stays together by the end of the day. So, and in most projects, what we do is, as one is going on, the other follows. So first, the formwork, which is the carpentry work, then the ironwork, then after the ironwork, then the casting of the parapet begins and continues until we get to getting every place sorted. Now, to ensure that you get a perfect finish of the parapet casting, there are a number of things you should note. First is ensure that the formwork is strong. Ensure that your parapet formwork is straight, well braced, and oiled. And this will help you to prevent bulging after casting. You come to some parapets and you see that there are bulges here and there, which was as a result of the concrete bulging. That's because the formwork was not braced well. So you have to ensure that you have a strong parapet formwork. The next thing is reinforcement. Use correct iron rod sizes, maintain good laps, and keep reinforcement off the form with spacers. So that will help to give it a good concrete cover. Then again, the next thing you need to look at is the concrete mix. Ensure that the concrete mix is solid. Avoid overly watery concrete or the one that doesn't have enough water. So you need to ensure that you use the right aggregates, you use the right mix, and measure and mix well before pouring your concrete. Then, the fourth thing you need to ensure that is taken care of is pouring the concrete gradually along the parapet line. And of course, you vibrate to remove air pockets and honeycombs. So you pour gradually when you're pouring your parapet. First, you could get the beams done first, and then the other sides that follows. But pour gradually because you are working at height. Then again, you have to maintain level and alignment. So somehow ensure that you maintain an even level of the concrete you're pouring. Ensure that it is straight all around. So these are some of the tips you need to look out for. Of course, you seal up gaps, allow for proper curing of the concrete. Avoid casting in the rain. Whenever it is raining, do not cast your parapet because, of course, the rain could wash out and reduce the strength of the concrete. By the time the casting of this parapet was completed, it was observed that the following materials had been used: 20 lengths of 16 mm rods, 40 lengths of 12 mm rods, 80 lengths of 10 mm rods, 1 roll of binding wire, 60 bags of cement. The 1x12x12 that was used was 100. Then the 2x2x12 was 150. For the granite, we used the 15 tons of granite. Then the nails, the 2 inches and 3 inches nails, one bag. And of course, 1 trip of ehigwangwa sand. Now, the total cost of all these materials used for the parapet, both the formwork, the ironwork, and of course the casting of this parapet, was 3,395,000 naira. Whereas the total cost of all the labor, which in this case includes the carpentry work, the iron work, the casting, and every other ancillary jobs that were attached to this, to bringing this parapet work done, was 900,000 naira. And this brings the total of both material and labor for this parapet work, for this our luxurious 6-bedroom duplex, to 4,295,000 naira. Thank you for being with us this far, and see you on the next one.